Beautiful people. Spark it up, live it up right now.
Welcome back to Sports Rock, Cats and Kittens. Now it's time to move on to the next portion of our show that we have prepared for your listening pleasure. It is the halfway point for the Cleveland Browns. What are your thoughts thus far on the season? Bright spots. Won't spend a lot of time talking about those because there aren't many. What needs fixed first? Mr. Becknow.
Bright spots. Those are Phil Dawson.
Absolutely. Always a bright spot.
Yeah. As far as the Browns defensively, I look at the Browns as since Heckard and Holmgren has taken over, I look at this as a franchise that's like an expansion team. You know, they're starting basically a rookie quarterback who started now 16 games. He's 5-11, which is basically right on line with every other Browns quarterback.
Throw out this no training camp bullshit because we're 8 games into the year. I don't care if they had training camp or not. He should be showing more progression than what he is now. But anyways.
Well, perhaps, but you've got a quarterback that's basically more or less a rookie, certainly a young player. He's lost his running game completely. At the beginning of the season, you had Peyton Hillis, Montario Hardesty, and Brandon Jackson. You felt pretty good about that. After 5 weeks into the season, you don't have any of them. Now you're playing with Obadiah, Thomas Clayton in your backfield. Shaky at best. Offensive line, look at your offensive line. Joe Thomas, great tackle. Still fairly young. Left guard, Jason Pinkston, rookie. Center, he was third year for Alex Mack, doing okay. Right guard, Sean Laval, basically a rookie, hardly played at all last year. Right tackle, Tony Pashos, horrible, gotta go.
All the hype for...
Oh, he's horrible, he's gotta go. And receivers, Massaquoi, who's knocked out half the time. Thankfully, Robo, the great Brian Robisky, is gone. Josh Cribbs, they don't know what to do with. Nobody in Cleveland has figured out a way. And I thought when Shermer came, offensive-minded, that he would know what to do with Cribbs. And they just don't. They just don't know what to do with him. The tight ends are solid. I think they ought to maybe look at 2 tight end sets and forget the wideouts. Greg Little has been a nice surprise, but once again, a rookie.
Very young.
Defensively, you're starting young guys everywhere. This team is 2 steps above an expansion team, in my opinion, and you're getting what you're getting.
Yep.
Well, I truly couldn't agree more with that, and I think a lot of people they're sick of we're young expansion, but quite honestly, we're only in our 2nd year with the regime we have on hand right now.
Right.
A lot of people are jumping the boat. I know a lot of people are pissed off. I'm one of them that we can't win, and we're Cleveland fans. We're tired of not winning anything, obviously, but you got to understand. You got to understand. It takes a little bit of time to build an organization, especially a professional football organization. Injury setbacks always. We always have that. We have no depth on our team. All this comes with. Unfortunately, you people that are fans don't want to hear this, but it does take time. It takes time to get you more depth on your team. It takes time to get the talent to where you can have one guy, if he does go down, an adequate replacement to come in and help him out. So we're just, right now, it's going to take a little bit more time. I would say just be patient for maybe 2 more years. See how the draft progresses. We've done really well the last 2 seasons with draft picks. If we can keep progressing there, and through free agency.
Yeah, at some point in time, we're going to have to dip our toes in free agency.
Yeah, and
go for a big hitter.
And that's a problem that I was going to bring up just now, too, is like in the free agency market, oh my God, like why couldn't we went out and pick somebody up? And we didn't, especially at the receiving spot, which we needed desperately.
We passed on Brandon Lloyd, though he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Right.
But there's going to be
Matt Forte.
There's going to be some free agents at the end of this year, though I'm assuming, I guess, and I really don't know. I didn't read the collective bargaining agreement. They didn't send it to me.
Which, by the way, what the hell, NFL?
That there's still a franchise tag. I'm guessing that was still in place.
Yes.
Because Matt Forte, Ray Rice, and Arian Foster are all free agents at the end of the year.
Ooh.
Now, if any one of those 3, and out of the 3, I like them all, but I really like Matt Forte.
I think he would be our biggest help.
I agree.
But I'm afraid these guys are going to be franchised, and we're going to be stuck with neither one of them.
Well, another comment there would be if they do franchise him, that's going to be negotiation problems for them also too, because a lot of these guys are stud players that.
Well, we're going to have to lay out the
get
money,
what
but
they
we got an owner that'll spend money.
No, no.
Unlike Paul Dolan,
Yeah, well, that's
Lerner
another
will spend
subject.
money. He hasn't always spent it maybe wisely, but sometimes it's been bad luck.
Yeah,
You know, you bring in Charles Bentley. With Charles Bentley, you give him big money.
never gets played.
He never plays.
You know, absolutely.
This talk of free agency and not using free agency. Just first of all, the fact of the matter is this: there are too many holes in this team to solve it through the draft. If we solve every hole in this team through the draft, you're looking at another 3-4 years because you can't count on anything past third round as far as producing. At least good teams don't. At least producing as a starter on an everyday basis. This brings us to something that Tom Heckert had said earlier this week, that the Browns do not regret not taking a receiver in the first round or getting one in free agency. This last free agency was very receiver rich. They had a lot of opportunities to pick up somebody who would really help this team. Do you think that the front office is missing a glaring deficiency in this team, or are they covering their tracks and don't want to admit that they screwed up?
Well, I think we all realize there's a glaring deficiency in a lot of areas on the Browns
But they
team.
consistently keep saying they're okay with this receiving core and coming out and saying, you know what,
That's a bunch of jive.
we were okay.
That's a bunch of rhetoric from the front office that, I mean, they have to be watching. They're watching the same games we are. You have
Right.
to see that they
Right.
don't have anybody. And Greg Little is their best receiver. He's a guy that didn't even play last year.
Right.
Massaquoi can't play half the time. And I mean, those drafts under Eric Mangini just set this franchise back another 5 years probably.
Absolutely.
Well, he's not the
That-
only one, though.
Well, no, he's not. No, you're right, because in theory, since we've been back, and that's been, what, now 12 years? Pretty close
Yeah.
to it, something like that.
Yeah.
99.
Your quarterback should be Tim Couch. He should be in about his 12th year and should be a pretty darn, I don't want to say Peyton Manning type quarterback, but certainly a franchise type quarterback.
Yes.
You should have Courtney Brown and Gerard Warren on your front line. These guys are not even in the NFL. I mean, it's not like
Right.
they didn't produce for Cleveland and we cut them.
Right.
And they went on to play for the Raiders or Chargers and became superstars. We cut them. They ended up out of the league.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, that's
Yep.
that's pitiful drafting.
Well, and you also take Spurgeon Wynn over Tom Brady. Now, granted, you never know, but that late in the draft, that was what, 6th round?
Yes.
That late in the draft, I'm putting
250th player.
I'm putting my money
I'm
on
going
a,
Big Ten- I'm
on
going
a
with Big
starter
Ten
at a Big
quarterback.
Ten university over somebody from God knows where.
Absolutely.
I don't even know where Spurgeon was.
I forget where he was from, but it was some small little, basically community college.
I know as much as I'm not a Wolverines fan, I would have taken a Wolverines quarterback hands down over a kid from a college that played no
And
competition.
would Tom Brady be the Tom Brady he is today if he went to Cleveland? I guarantee you probably not. But at least you've got, they would have at least made a better decision.
It reflects back on what Doug said too about the drafting. It was so poor,
Absolutely.
so poor. And what I said earlier too is like, this isn't a quick fix. It can't all be done through the draft. We need to draft the free agency. I have personally seen bright spots the last 2 seasons in draft picks that have been made. There has been contributions made by these young kids they brought in.
Yes.
They got to keep that rolling, hands down. They got to keep that rolling, but they also will need help in the free agency market. And Mr. Heckard probably is just trying to. I have no clue why he'd make comment we didn't need a receiver, but
I think
We'll see what
I
happens.
think this year has turned into a evaluation year of the players that they have, and obviously changes have to be made.
With Colt McCoy, they've all said he's the guy this year. Okay, that's fine. Obviously, we've got no benefit in changing quarterbacks now. If it turns out, if things continue the way they're continuing because he is not progressing at all whatsoever, what do you do at the end of the year? Do you go out and sign somebody? Do you try to trade for somebody? Do you draft somebody? What do you do? Because this team is not going to move forward until they have their quarterback in place.
Well, in Colt's defense, he doesn't have any talent around him.
No. Agreed.
Now that being said, he's under a lot of pressure. But there's a lot of times he's not under pressure, and he makes bad throws. And those throws are the ones that worry me. In college, he came out, accuracy. That was the main thing of Colt McCoy. He's got the intangibles. He's a leader. I like him for that.
Absolutely.
But, not every time is he flat on his back, though there is a lot of times he's flat on his back. But he's got some open guys, and he's made some bad throws, and that concerns me. But he's got, a weak receiving. He's got no running game now. He's got, had we had a healthy Peyton Hillis, a healthy Montario Hardesty, a healthy Brandon Jackson.
A world difference.
Yeah, because a running game is going to help him tremendously. You take away a running game from any of the top quarterbacks, or you take away their weapons. In Cleveland's case, running backs are their weapons. They change to a different offense, but you still have to, as Rex Ryan likes to say, ground and pound. You got to be able to run the ball, especially as the weather gets colder.
So then that runs into this question then. If he, which I agree, he has been disadvantaged this year. But what do you can't afford to wait until next year, hope that the running backs get healthy and stay healthy, get some more guys around him, and then give him another year, because then if he's unsuccessful, you've wasted another year.
Well,
what do you do?
Well,
how do you make this decision?
Well, you want to, I guess you could use the word jumpstart the evaluation, is maybe pull Colt McCoy
Agreed.
For a game or two and let Seneca Wallace run this offense. And if Seneca Wallace produces and this team scores some points,
Right.
then maybe our problem is Colt McCoy.
Right.
Because Seneca Wallace going to be playing with the same receiving core and same non-back
Absolutely.
that Colt McCoy has.
Absolutely.
True evaluation.
But if Seneca can't move them either,
Right.
then maybe quarterback's not our problem. And this team is not good enough to trade their two number ones this year and a number one next year to get Andrew Luck. They just don't have that kind of talent to be able to mess with.
St. Louis could be the number one pick this year. They may decide they want Luck, put Bradford on the market. Do you go get him?
Well, it depends on what the asking price is, I guess.
I like Bradford.
But I also like the comment Doug made there too. Is like, if you want a true evaluation, maybe you sit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's a bad thing for him to sit.
I think it's a
for a
great.
game or two.
I think it's a great idea, because then not only for the team but for Colt McCoy himself too, because he sets a game or two in Seneca Wallace, which is a veteran, goes out there, and if he can't produce either, then McCoy can sit there not in your face, but say, okay, this is why we have problems.
Maybe slow things down a little bit for Colt.
Sure.
Let him observe for a game or two. You're still our starter. When you're sitting down, tell him you're still our starter. We just want to sit you for a game or two. Relax. Take in what Seneca's doing, how the offense looks, and then you're coming back in week 10 or 11 or whatever it may be.
And then he'll have, and he also
And the rest
himself,
of the year.
and also himself, he'll be able to say, okay, maybe there's things I'm missing, or maybe sitting back there, it's like, okay, everyone else is going to see the same weaknesses that they're there. It's like so much more needs, and we all agree we need a lot on this team.
They complain about their offensive line. Their offensive line outside of Steinbach, who got hurt and has missed the whole season.
Yes.
And that was a big blow, don't get me wrong.
It was, but it's only one player.
But everybody else is there.
Yes.
Everybody else on the offensive line is intact on what we thought
Was a good offensive line.
Was a strength of this football
Yes,
team.
we all agreed at the beginning coming in that it was a strength of this team. So far, it hasn't been by no means.
So,
but Pashos has to go.
Pashos, absolutely.
Yeah, he's terrible.
The man, the myth, the legend.
He's got to go.
So anyways, there's obviously so much more we can discuss about the Browns, but we don't want to ramble on for hours. So we're going to take a short break here and come up with our next segment. We're going to discuss the rest of the NFL and include some rock and roll. This first show is mainly, sports, football, Browns. The future shows will have a lot more rock and roll in them. We're going to get a taste of the rock and roll world with some news that will be very interesting to some fans of the greatest rock and roll band on earth, which we'll tell you who that is coming up next on Sports Rock.